Okay, let's go live. Mastermind with Neil Schwartz and our special guest today, Matt Nunez and his wife, Jamie. Let's all say hi to Matt and Jamie. Good work. Woo! I can't see Jamie. She'll be there, right? All right, good stuff. So Matt,
I'm here.
oh, there you go. So really appreciate you joining us today and sharing some good stuff. I really, when I had called you the other day, we talked a little bit and it was amazing what you guys do. And I'm looking forward to you sharing the story of all the work that you do. And first of all, I want to thank you for your service as a first responder fireman. How long have you been doing that?
17 years.
Wow. And how long in real estate?
5.5 years.
Got it. Okay. So tell us, how did you get started in real estate and what the transition was between real estate and, between the fire and real estate and how that kind of works? And, just give us like a little Reader's Digest version of that.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me on, Neil. Good to see all these faces. Again, I'm Matt Nunez. To specifically answer your question, I consider myself being in real estate for about 12 years because I'm a real estate investor on top of being a real estate agent and team leader. But I didn't want to obtain my real estate license until I achieved my promotional goals in the fire department, because I knew once I obtained my real estate license, I was going to go 150 miles an hour. And as far as promoting on the fire department, that probably would have never happened. So about 6 years ago, I promoted to fire captain, and that's where I wanted to get to. So I'm an officer in the fire department. And then from there, same day, signed up for my real estate test, had that knocked out in 3 or 4 months. Started selling, homes, grew from, 12 deals my first year to, hey, I need a little help because I'm also a father of 2 boys, a husband. So I actually signed my wife up for real estate without her even knowing. Damn near got divorced over it, but I knew she'd be great at it. She had a marketing background. She had an engineering background, very much a people person, very organized. So adding her to the team was the addition we needed to keep going upward. From there, to tell you a little bit about us, we do have a very, very small team. We don't have your normal team. The 2 agents that work for us are both ladies that we are very good friends with. I know people say don't mix friendship and business. I'm not a believer of that, as long as the expectations and the communication is straight from the beginning, which it was. My biggest goal in 2023 is to get them to be full-time real estate agents. They're both awesome agents. They're both great. But I need them to be full-time real estate agents because it would be nothing better, for me to feel successful if they went from, selling 5 or 6 homes a year to selling, 25 homes a year, which they both can if they commit to being full-time. So that's a big goal of ours. And I think that I answered your question, but if
that's consistent.
No.
Yes, yeah, you did. Thank you. That's consistent with your leadership as a captain in the fire department. That's no easy thing to accomplish, even when you're full-time not working real estate, correct?
Absolutely.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal. So how many days a week do you work full-time for the fire department? How's that work? How's that rotation?
Yeah, so I would say that's a very difficult question to answer. To give you an average, I would say 3 24-hour shifts a week.
Okay. And then that moves. It's not the same 3, correct?
Correct. But I have the ability, the fire department is, I know this is a real estate Zoom call, but not to talk too much about the fire department, but the fire department is very flexible as you obtain seniority and rank, to where I have the ability to control my schedule 365 days out.
Wow.
So to give you an example, January 10th of 2023, I can control my schedule all the way to January 10th of 2024.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, that's great. That's good stuff. I don't know why this popped into my head. Have you ever, in your years of being in the fire department, picked up a lead while you were out on a fire call?
No.
Okay.
I see Eddie Chavez laughing. Absolutely not. I'm a very friendly guy. So I've had conversations, but it's very important as a fire captain to not mix politically the fire department and real estate while on duty.
Yeah, makes total sense. I get that. All right, so let's go back to the beginning when you decided to get into real estate and start doing deals, not from the buying side per se, but from the retail side, trying to list and sell houses.
Mhm.
So this last year, let's say in 2022, you're going to end up with how many transactions closed?
Yeah, 76. Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we'll be at 76.
Does that sound right, Jamie?
Yes, that's correct. 76.
Okay. And how many are those listings and buyer sides? What's the mix?
Crazy transition for us this year. Last year, when I say last year, 2021, we were 80% listings, 20% buyers. This year we're 55-45, so 55% listings, 45% buyers.
What was that by design? Did something happen?
The only way, Neil, that I can relate it to know exactly why it happened, it was not by design. I love, representing buyers, but I think like any, top producing agent, I'd much rather have a listing. But I think in 2021, we had a lot of folks list their home, move out of state. So we didn't get to capture the buying side of it. In 2022, I felt like we had a lot of folks list their home and relocate within the state. And if that's the case, we were able to list that home, also represent them on the buying side versus list their home, get a referral fee for, referring them to an Oklahoma agent or whatnot.
How many transactions did you do in 21?
80.
80. So about the same number of deals, but the mix was different.
Yep.
Interesting. Got it. And how much of that business is that your buyer's agents, and how much of that business is yours?
Yeah. So this year, our buyer's agents combined closed 10 deals. And I don't, if they're on here, I love them. They are phenomenal. And they would have closed 25 deals if they would have been full-time. That's my number one goal for them, is to become full-time agents, and they will both close 25 plus deals.
Got it. The balance of the deals are split between you and your wife, or how's that work?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Excellent. So the business comes from past client sphere. It comes from expireds for sale by owners. How have you built your business?
Yeah. So I'm a 100%, and I don't want to recite Mike Ferry on here, but what I will say is your past client sphere of influence, referral-based business is the business that you want to get to. And that's our business 95%. There's not a person that we have represented in the past that isn't going to call us to ask us for real estate advice. And I don't care if they move to Oklahoma, they're still going to call us. The reason they're going to call us is because we stay in touch with them, probably more than Mike Ferry, would tell you to do. It is very, very religious for us to keep in touch with them throughout the year, whether it's on the phone, on an email, on a text message, a mailer. Jamie does pop-by gifts. She can expand on that, but random surprise gifts on their doorsteps. They're your gold mine. Our business is 95% sphere of influence, past clients. and referrals, and referrals from within our sphere of influence is significant.
So let me ask you about that. We divide past client and sphere into direct business, meaning that's what somebody does business with you. They call you, I want to list my house, I want to sell my house, and you do that deal, okay? Or deals. And then indirect is people where you get a referral, hey, call my friend Susie, she's looking to buy or sell a house. So that would be indirect.
Yep.
How much, do you have a feel for what is direct and what's indirect?
Yeah, so let me expand on that a little bit. That's great you brought up. So I actually teach that to our team here. And I've taught other classes within the brokerage. So I have a database, consistent to probably many of yours. But I also have what I call a moneymaker list. And my moneymaker list is people without a doubt that will call me for any real estate business, not specifically for them, I'm talking for their neighbor, for their friends, for their coworkers, for their, folks in their church, their activities, whatever it is. They are going to call Matt and Jamie Nunez for any real estate business. And I know those people and I've identified those people. And every year it's a goal to expand that moneymaker list of mine. I think my moneymaker list is up to 108 people. My wife's is probably right around 100. And the two gals on our team, I think theirs is in the 30s or 40s. So that list right there, we connect with twice a month religiously throughout the year.
And that's through text, email, gifts, etc.
And
those
sometimes
are
more than twice a month. I'm just saying twice a month minimum.
minimum, right? And then these people are reasonably local to you?
Yes and no. Yes and
Okay.
no.
Tell me
Some
about
of them, some of our closest moneymaker clients, friends have relocated. I think of one off the top of the head that lives in Oklahoma now, that we've helped 1, 2, 3 times in the past. And her and her husband would call us 1000% if they knew anybody in California looking to buy or sell. And they actually probably would call us, I won't say probably, they will call us if they were going to relocate within Oklahoma to another home. That's
Interesting.
the trust that, we've.
That's
that
the
we-
relationship you've
Yeah.
built.
Mhm.
That's great. Jamie, tell us about these gifts that you're dropping by, these surprise pop buys.
Yeah, so can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
And sorry for the background. My Zoom is going crazy. Yeah, so each month, I don't do it to all of our clients, but I do it anywhere from 10 to 20 probably a month. And each month, our local clients, because again, a lot of them have moved out of state, get something left on their doorstep. So if there's a holiday going on like Christmas or Thanksgiving, obviously it's going to be geared towards that. Like Thanksgiving, I left a pumpkin and a carving set with a little, business card attached to it, asking for the referrals. Sometimes I'll do caramel dipped apples. Like the gift always is changing, right? So that's each month. But along with that, just this morning, actually, one of our clients got engaged. So when I see something like that, I screenshot it. I make a card for them. So each one of our clients, for every one of their birthdays, for every one of their anniversaries, for any big event, if they had a grandchild, they get a card that's sent to them, and that goes directly to their home address. So little things like that. Then obviously I personally text message them. A lot of times I'll call them. So we are in contact, I think, with our clients probably more than most, a lot by text, I would say, but also just getting, a handwritten card and something in the mail, saying happy birthday. We remembered it was their birthday. I think a lot of agents don't do that. And I think it kind of stands apart. And I get so many people that say, oh my God, I can't remember you. I can't believe that you remembered it's my birthday. Just something small. But when you have a database that's growing and you're able to organize it, that way it's just built up for success.
Well, that's great. So are you using social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook to identify these milestones in people's lives? Is that where you're getting it, or you just
good question.
Work?
Yeah, good question. So the milestone parts, yes. But I pretty much have, I would say I'm about 90% right now that everybody that is stored in my phone, I have their email address, their home address, their birthdays, and their anniversary. So once we are in a deal with somebody, I automatically ask them, as long as it's going well, I'm just kidding. I always ask them, I have their email, but then I always ask, hey, what's your birthday? What's your guys' anniversary? So that's automatically programmed to my phone. And then I upload that into a system. It's another database. And so it automatically populates and will send me reminders. Hey, it's so-and-so's birthday coming up. For things, obviously, like they got engaged, I'm not going to know those, or days that they got married. So yes, so this morning, for example, was an Instagram one that popped up showing a picture of her ring that she got married. I screenshotted that. I formulated a card. That card will go out in the mail today.
Brilliant. That's good work. Excellent.
You.
So you'll do that. You'll watch for those things for your clients. So is it only your clients in the database, or are you kind of reaching neighborhoods and then do that kind of stuff in there? And let me ask one more thing. Do you capture the the buyers on the listings that you guys take that sell? Do you capture the buyer on those when those close?
Another good question. So as far as everybody that we send that out to, as far as cards, birthdays, that type of stuff, that right now is going to not just necessarily our clients, but people that I know will be future clients and people that give us referrals. Like Matt mentioned, our moneymaker list, that goes to all of them. So not necessarily people that we have done business with, but we know eventually we will do business with them, or they will eventually give us a referral. Even if they've moved out of state, they're still getting a card. They're not getting a gift left on their door because, obviously I can't FedEx it. I guess I could, but I just don't. And then as far as capturing the buyers on our listings, actually one of our friends and great agent told us about doing that. And I always thought it was kind of ballsy, but we have kind of started doing that. And one person, that it was a huge listing that we had, and the buyers, I have kept in contact with them. They get a gift on, and actually it was their anniversary today as well. They get a gift left on their door pretty much each month. And I know with 100% that if they were ever to go to sell their house, especially because we are an expert in that area that they live, that they would use us. And they've actually already referred us, and not the agent that they used. They've already referred us to another person.
I think two. I think
Maybe
they referred us to two people already.
Oh, yes. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
That's great. Excellent. Matt, thank you, Jamie. That's great stuff. Really good stuff. So I kind of get a picture of how you built this, and you continue to build this list from what Jamie shared, and Matt, you've identified. But let's go back to the beginning. You didn't have, you might have had some friends and some neighbors, et cetera, but certainly not, 2,000 people in your list now, something like that? Yeah. So in the beginning, what'd you do to generate the listings?
Yeah. So I'm sure everybody's heard this before, but I'll recite it again, and Jamie knows exactly what I'm going to say because I say it every time I do any trainings for the brokerage. We came up with a corny text message and attached our business card, and that's how we started our business. Well, that's part of the way we started our business. We both took our phones and, consider it your Rolodex, unless some of you folks still have Rolodexes at home, but that's your Rolodex. You got whatever it is, 300 contacts in there, and they all got a personal text message. It was the same text, just kind of copy and pasted, switch of names, and our business card, basically introducing ourselves, letting them know that we were active real estate agents, and here for your needs. If you have anybody buying or selling, we work for a phenomenal brokerage in the city of Marietta and operate the entire Southern California basis. So that was part of the way we started our business. And I promise, if you're a new agent and you do that, you will 100% get feedback and get dialogue started to have the opportunity to be somebody's real estate agent, 100%. And once you're one person's real estate agent, you're their real estate agent for life. That is just what it is.
So Matt, excuse me, let me just interject. So to be clear, you would be sending a text and attached to it a digital business card?
Absolutely.
All right, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yep.
Okay.
And then on top of that, we really hit the for sale by owners in that time period. What was it, like 17, 18, right in there? We hit for sale by owners. That was actually our first listing, was a for sale by owner. And we door knocked. So those were the 3 areas that we started with our first year, and we did 12 deals. Or Jamie wasn't licensed then, but we did 12 deals our first year, 40 our second year, 40, 48, and then I think we've done 75 plus for the last 3 years. So
Excellent.
that's kind of how it started.
So let's go back a little bit further, because it clearly, when your first year and you go on your listing appointments and you're talking to people, etc., you sounded professional, you sounded like you knew what you were doing, and you had good knowledge of the market. All of that came because you were an investor, correct?
I wouldn't say all of that came from me being an investor. My family growing up has been in the real estate game since I can remember. My grandma's 90 years old. She has a slight case of dementia and still buys and sells homes for others. True story.
Wow. Wow.
She was the top Orange County agent, in the 80s for several years. And I have a cousin. I have several cousins, but I have one cousin in this general area that has a very large team that I leaned on heavily.
Okay.
Knowledge is power. And if you have the opportunity to go to any listing, I don't care if it's your first day or your, 20th year, your mindset has to be that you're going to get that deal. And the only way you're going to get that deal is if you're professional and you're proficient in your craft.
So professional proficient, does that mean knowing the inventory and previewing property?
Absolutely.
How about learning what to say and how to say it?
Absolutely. 1000%. And asking a lot of questions, I would say, to end that.
Wow. Previewing property, asking a lot of questions, knowing what to say and how to say it, practicing. Wow. Even the superstars do that. Isn't that great, Robert? Good job. Very good job, Matt. So what would, let's say, aside from the texting, is there anything that any ideas that you would share? The market is generally a little bit more difficult. Would you agree with that statement or no right now?
100%. Let me say this the right way. I chuckle a little bit when I sit in meetings or I listen to people speak within our brokerage and outside of our brokerage that say that they're going to double their business next year. I think that's, a bit amusing to me. If
Why
you
do
can
you-
do,
Go ahead. I want to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, if you're a top producing agent this year, whatever number that is, and you can do the same amount of business that you did in 2022, in 2023, I think that's going to be a very, very successful year. And I get a lot of grief for that. Everybody doesn't agree with that, and that's fine. And I have my opinion. But to piggyback off what you said, Neil, right now, times are much tougher than they were in the beginning of 2022. And I think they're going to be tough in the early part of 2023 until we open up in the spring. And I think you're going to see a little expansion over the spring and summer back to a normal real estate market, seasonal. And then, we're going to be here before you know it in 2023 in the November, December months. And then, as we progress into 2024, I think, we'll have the opportunity to potentially double our business. But I think realistically, if you can do the same amount of business you did last year as a top producing agent, not as a new agent, if you did 4 or 5 deals, there's no reason you can't double your business next year. But as a top producing agent doing 70, 80, 90 deals, it would be very, very, very difficult to double that next year.
Well, I don't disagree with you, Matt. I hear loud and clear what you're talking about. It also leads me to the next question is, what changes to your business are you making to ensure that that happens? Because the market is shrinking slightly. There's no question about it. When I say the market, that's the number of closed transactions. We see that all over the place. And the number of agents is starting to contract. I think they're talking, the National Association of Realtors talks about 30–40% of the number of agents either getting out of the business or going inactive. But what's your general plan without giving any of the secret sauces away?
Hey, first and foremost, there's no secret sauce. Everybody in my office knows that here. Anything, I will tell you exactly what I'm going to do. And hopefully you can repeat it down in Whittier. I know somebody said they're from Whittier, wherever you're from. And I had this conversation with Randy and Keith several weeks ago. So in 2021, we sold 80 homes. In 2022, we're going to sell 76 homes, but we're going to make $250,000 more than we did in 2021. Okay. So I will make the same amount of money that I made in 2022 in 2023. That is going to happen. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to continue to constantly be in touch with my sphere of influence, past clients, referrals, my money list. But in addition to that, something that I haven't done in several years, and I think it's very, very important for any agent, no matter if you've been doing the business for 1 month or 25 years, is you have to 100% capture a farm. And the area that Jamie was speaking about earlier, we're experts in that area. That was our farm for the first 4 years, maybe, of our business. And we still consider it our farm. I would say we list probably 25% of listings going out of that 500 or 600 home basis right there in that little pocket. But why aren't we listing 50% or 75%? And now we've actually relocated to a neighborhood just north of where that is, into a neighborhood of 500 homes. And I'm going to get back to the roots. I'm going to door knock. I haven't door knocked in 4 years. I'm going to door knock, and I'm going to take over the Greer Ranch, which is a community inside of Marietta. And that's how I will obtain the same numbers as I did this year.
For you. Excellent. Jamie, any plans on changing any of the ramping up the past client sphere stuff that you're doing, or anything from that perspective? Go ahead.
Sorry, my phone kept going off. So as far as ramping up, I just think that it's really important for people to just not be sitting behind an office or a desk all day, just to get out and meet more people, be face to face with people, which I think Matt and I do a very good job of. We're super active in the community. So, hosting more community events, I would, always like to do that. More nonprofit stuff, I would always like to do that. And that's not to gain, I don't want to be misconstrued. That's not to gain more clients. That's because I generally like to do that type of stuff. But if we can get more clients out of doing good things for the community, then great. And then, yeah, we need to get back more on door knocking. I've committed to calling expireds, which, haven't done. So working with our coach on that right now. And just trying to continue to build the database up, asking for referrals. Both Matt and I are not scared to ask people for business. We're just not. So we get rejected,
Really?
we get rejected, but we're not scared to ask for someone's business.
Who's your Mike Ferry coach?
Kathy.
Kathy,
Kelly?
Kathy Switzler.
Oh, she's great.
She's
She
awesome.
is.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, excellent. Very, very good. Okay, so you guys open for a few questions right now?
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
So, questions for Matt or Jamie, just raise your hand or give me a shout out, please.
I have a question, Neil.
Go ahead, Iris.
Thank you, Jamie and Matt, for being here for us and sharing your experience. And my question is, Matt, are you still working as the captain in the fire department?
Yes, I'm still working. I'd like to
So-
retire in 3 years, but
retire
my
in
wife
3
tells
years.
me I have to do 8 more.
Good for you. And my question is, how do you work out your schedule?
I love that question. I'll tell you one thing. I'm bad at a lot of things. There's a lot of things that I'm bad at in this industry, in life. But there's one thing that I'm pretty good at, and that is my schedule, because I have to be proficient in my schedule to make this work. I'm a full-time fire captain. I coach youth sports year-round. I do not go to the fire station throughout the months of August, September, and October because I coach 2 tackle football teams, both of my boys. And then I'm a full-time realtor and run a small team. On top of that, the most important thing to me is my family, my kids, and my wife. So my schedule, like I responded to Neil earlier, I start working on my schedule 365 days out, and that evolves over time. So on January 10th, I will know my schedule until January 10th of 2024.
Well, that's fantastic. It really good. Great question, Iris. Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Very good. Questions for Matt or Jamie, you had a comment?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Other questions for Matt and Jamie? Go ahead, Tess.
Okay, so I have a question in reference to being involved with community. How did you get started on the community? Like the contributions that you have done so far? Because in my experience, sometimes I don't know where to start with those community contributions. Did you go to the senior or whatever? I'm not sure. How did you, or what is it that you have for the community contribution?
Yeah,
I'll touch on this one, or go ahead, Matt.
no, I was
then
just
I'll
gonna
go
say,
after.
I'll let Jamie answer this one. She handles that.
So Matt and I are both very fortunate where we've grown up in this area. I've been in this area since I've been 10 months old. So I have a lot of personal connections with people and resources that I can reach out to certain people. I'm also a fitness instructor in the area at a local gym, which has opened a lot of doors to just meeting different people. So I know of local organizations like the Myriad of Food Pantry, local churches, just things are going on. Social media has been a big one for me. I was anti-social media for a lot, but I actually feel like it's done a lot of good as far as being able to find events that are happening and then just contacting, the owners of the company or whoever heads it up. And, even if you don't have their phone number, private messaging and say, hey, I'd like to be a part of this, or, is there something that I can do to help? And really, I think the most important thing is just finding a connection with whatever one pulls at your heartstrings. Like for us as foster kids, so we just find things that, mean something to us, and then we find a way to get involved in it.
I see. That's great. Thank you.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Jamie. Really good stuff. Abigail, you had a question?
Yes. What do you do when you have clients who maybe moved out of the area and they live in for example, just a different area? Like when I started in the industry, I started selling to a lot of first-time home buyers in different areas like Riverside, Murrieta, San Bernardino area, Victorville area. So how do you still stop by? And I'm assuming I heard you say that you do not send out I don't know if you said something about not dropping off anything. How do you get in contact with them, or I know you get in contact with them, but how do you drop off something to them?
Yeah, so obviously the ones that are out of state or out of area that aren't local, they're not getting something left on their door each month, but I still do get in contact with them. Actually, there was a card that got sent out yesterday to one of our clients that moved to Colorado. So it was her birthday coming up. So like I said, I have all those people programmed in my phone in my database when it's their birthday, when it's their anniversary. If you know, a simple card means a lot to people. Now, if they're a client that let's say gives you a lot of business, or even if it's a referral that gives you a lot of business. I have one particular client in my mind that I know that I do this for, and on their anniversaries and on their birthdays, they get you know, brownies that are made, or homemade brownies that get sent to them, or a little gift basket that gets sent to them. You can even find, like, one of the things in our area is Temecula Olive Oil Company, and they like set up gift baskets and they'll send it directly to their house. So finding little places like that, if it's a client or a repeat client that's going to give you business and you want to, or a moneymaker client and you want to send them a little bit extra, you can just find something in your area or pick something out that will go directly to their home.
I see. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Jill, great question. Thanks, Jamie. In our chat box, Aaron Lanning has a question. Aaron? Aaron, unmute yourself, please.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Can you hear me? Thanks,
Can hear
Neil.
you now. Yeah.
Matt, Jamie, love you guys. Are you guys diving into online leads at all, or is it all door knocking, farming, and of course, Sphere? Just curious if you're touching online leads.
Yeah, so we haven't paid for a lead in, quote me, Jamie, but I want to say 2 years, 2.5 years.
Yeah, we're going on 3 years coming up.
Yeah, so we used to pay for leads in Zillow, even though it was against what I thought for a long time. But I have a cousin that you know very well, Aaron, that taught me or gave me some guidance and leadership on obtaining Zillow leads and how to capture them and make it work business-wise for you. And in order to do that, you have to own 33. His algorithm is you have to own 33% of a zip code if you're going to invest in Zillow. And as soon as I started doing that, I was making 300% on my money investing in Zillow. That slowly went away and we got out of it. So we do not pay for any leads. We are fortunate enough. We've been asked to, and you know, Randy's been great to us, but we do get Redfin Premier. We're a premier agent for Redfin. And we do have, you know, the #1 zip code in Marietta here. So that was something that I see Randy's on, maybe he can add to, but I think you had to achieve, and it wasn't Randy's guidance, it was more from Redfin, but you had to, there was some bar that was set, you know, to who can obtain those leads. I'm not sure exactly how that was structured, but we've had those for probably the last 1.5 years.
You had to be over a $2.5 million in sales, and you guys are pretty easy to roll in there. But we did roll in about, would we roll in about 35 or 40 people into that, and it seemed to work real good until Redfin wanted to keep them for themselves, and then now they've come back around wanting us to do it again.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Other questions for
Neil, I have one more question.
Sure, go ahead, Iris.
So Matt, you mentioned about you farm about 500, 600 homes in that community. You door knock. So besides door knocking, what else do you do?
Okay, so let me clarify what I said so we're clear. I haven't door knocked in 4 years. I have not door knocked in 4 years. I will be door knocking. That is one of my goals in 2023. And I'm actually excited for it because we used to have a lot of fun doing it. So we pay right now, 2022 speaking, this year we've paid local kids at the high school, in high school, to deliver door signs or flyers that we've made quarterly throughout the year in 2 different, Jamie, 2, I think 1 actually this year, 1 different farm, but we're gonna take over another one where we recently moved this year, and we will be door knocking.
I'll also touch more on that too. So also to hit on the farming is every time that the home gets listed inside that neighborhood, well, actually we do it with every listing, but every time that home gets sold, there's a postcard that gets out. Every time that the home gets just listed, the postcard gets sent out. So a just listed and a just sold. We also send out like a quarterly one to our farm that we're talking about, which is Marietta Oaks. We'll send out one there that's, shows, how many we've done, or just what your home could sell for, stuff like that. I did a community food drive this year in that neighborhood, which I've done the last 3 years in that neighborhood. We're doing a Christmas toy drive in that neighborhood coming up again on the 17th, with that we've done again for the last 3 years. We're actively involved in, I'm more actively involved in the, their community Facebook page, posting stuff on their page. So it's just constantly marketing and being top of mind.
Great. Excellent. Good question. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Matt. We had a question in the chat box. I'll combine this, is on door knocking, what's the script that you're using, or what will you be using at the doors, do you think?
That's a great question. Like I said, I haven't done it in 4 years, so I got to get back to the scripts for that. But I can tell you right off the bat that it will be something, very, very simple. Again, you just want to get your face out there. If you're door knocking on a religious basis throughout the year, and you're really door knocking to think that you're going to get business the day that you door knock, you probably shouldn't door knock anymore. It is for constant, just putting your face out there. That's who they see, being consistent throughout the year. It's same thing on social media posts. If you're putting post on social media, and you think you're going to get business from a post you put on social media one time, you probably shouldn't do any more social media. So it'll be something very similar. Hey, Mr. Aaron Lanning, Matt Nunez, Fire Family Real Estate. Feel like I've seen you in the neighborhood before. I'm just stopping by to tell you how many homes that we've sold in the last 6 months in this neighborhood and property values and where they're at. Here's some information. Please reach out to us if you have any further questions. I know that the script's going to tell you to ask questions. Hey, do you plan on listing or planning on, selling? I think initially when we start, I just want to go out and be friendly and get my face out in the neighborhood more. I think a lot of people know us in that neighborhood already. We've sold, dozens of homes in that neighborhood, but I think going out there and getting in front of them face to face will be good for us.
Yeah, I wanted to say something real quick. Matt, when you and Jamie started out, one of the things that impressed me the most is what you were talking about, Jamie, is the postcards. When they sold a house, those 500 cards went out, and they'd list another one within that area, and they'd spread it, and they'd go out a certain amount of area, and they were very consistent on putting those things out. And other than coaching 6 teams at one time with all the people they know in the community, the word got spread that they were doing a great job, and they kept it to a routine. That was the big thing. When we see so many people do one mailing and think they're going to get rich, they were doing mailings every week when they get a new listing, or when they'd sell one, 500 would go out. And they took over Marietta in that area.
And we still continue to do that to this day. As me and Matt's big thing is just being consistent on everything. Our marketing stays consistent, our flyers stay consistent, everything looks the same, our pictures are the same. So to this day, it's the same. Is they get a just listed postcard, they get a just sold postcard, and if it's a record breaking sale, we're going to hit that community 3 times.
I have a question, Jamie.
Yes.
How much is usually your budget on doing this marketing that you're doing a month? And do you do your rate of return? How do you monitor that?
Good question.
500,000% rate of return. I can answer that.
Good question, because I should monitor that more. I don't really have a budget. I'm a very frugal person, so I know how much we spent. Yeah, right, Matt. I know how much we spend as far as postcards and marketing and all that stuff, but I don't go out to say like I'm only going to spend $2,000 this month, because the fact of the matter is, if we close, 10 houses in that month, why would I only spend $2,000 that month if I know that my return the next month potentially from a postcard or doing, something else is going to give me more money. So
Yes.
I don't, again, I should probably be better with having a budget for that specific thing. We just don't have that right now.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
All right, good stuff. All right, unmute yourselves, please. Unmute yourselves. Let's give them a big hand. Woo! All right.
Hey.
Yay.
Thanks for sharing.
Great job, you guys. It's fantastic. Definitely, we just scratched the surface and we'll work on this with time. Really appreciate your time, Matt and Jamie. What we do now is we're going to take a few minutes and go around, ask questions of our people. What did they learn today from you guys? And it's kind of a way to lock in some of the great ideas that you shared with us. I do want to encourage you guys, Matt and Jamie, if you need any scripts or anything, you want to play with some stuff, that from 8 to 9 every morning on this channel, we role play, and we guarantee there's a role play partner. We have the scripts all laid out. You're welcome to use them and join us. And then at 9 o'clock, we do what we call open mic, where everybody's muted except for one person for 30 minutes, and they call. It's pretty cool. Would love for you guys or anyone else to join us. We've been doing this for, since about the 18th of March, 2020, 5 days a week. Very powerful. Anyway, we'd love to have you guys. Really, again, thank you guys very, very much. Matt, did you have something you wanted to add to that, or you were just?
No, thanks for having us. One of these knuckleheads in the office came and did something very inappropriate in this window here.
And it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Not me.
Neil, thank you very much for having us on. Nice to virtually meet a lot of faces that I haven't seen. Look forward to meeting you in person. And good to see the folks that I do know on here. So thank you very much for having us on.
You're welcome. Matt and Jamie, we did put in the chat box your names and phone numbers, your email addresses. You guys don't mind referrals, do you?
Of course not.
No.
And we don't mind helping people if they have questions either.
All right. Very cool. Very, very cool. Great stuff. Excellent. Okay, let's go. What did we learn today from Jamie and Matt? Wants to go first?
I'll go, Neil. So
Okay, Robert, please.
Matt, Jamie, thank you, and thank you. And it was a pleasure meeting you on stage on Friday, and I'm looking forward to actually meeting you more in person on Monday when I'm in Marietta. What I got out of this today, Neil, is we talk about this all the time. You got to figure out what you're good at and just double, triple, quadruple down on it. And they figured out that they have really mastered working their database and past client centers of influence. And instead of saying, okay, well, that's one source, but let's spend an hour a day working on expireds, and then let's also do this and let's also do that. It's no, we can make $1 million working this source if we just double, triple down on what we're really good at. And you and I have done this in coaching for years, Neil, where we'll take an agent and say, how many deals did you close from your database? 25. How many deals did you close from expireds, for example? 3. Why are you spending 80% of your prospecting on 3 deals? And so
Yes, again.
but that was my big takeaway, is 95% of their business, I think is what the number was database. And they've just mastered that, and they just double, triple, quadruple down on it. That's huge.
Yep. Matt, that's great. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good stuff, you guys. Okay, Robert, you need to unmute again. Okay.
I'm expressive. If you keep unmuting me, this is going to go forever.
Good point. Tess, did you have your hand up, or you're just laughing at me? Tess, unmute.
I was actually laughing at Robert. He's just a lot of humor. What I really like about this is the husband and wife really have a team. They really study their business. you know. I know they started, you know, you actually have to start, like, do baby steps, but they mastered it. And I think that that is absolutely awesome. And I like to really learn on that farming thing. So I'm working on it.
Cool. Good job. All
I'd
right,
like to share something.
please do.
As a new agent, it was very refreshing to hear that just going and walking around your own area, perhaps even your own neighborhood, and preparing a flyer with information and the opening statement of just, we're here if you have any questions, this is my number. I think that's a great information for any agent. Just literally just go outside and walk. Get to see your neighborhood and have them see your face. And then that way they connect your face with real estate and your number. I'll give her a call.
Joanna, that's a great observation. And the truth is that most of the great agents will have their basis in exactly that. We are in the meet the people business. And most agents don't spend time meeting the people. They spend time looking for a magic pill. No magic pills, everyone. Just meet the people. Good stuff.
Hey,
Thanks
Neil,
for sharing that.
I'd like to just add one thing to
Go ahead.
Joanna's
Sure,
comment
Matt.
there.
Of course.
So Joanna, my opinion, and I think most would agree, your own, where you live should be your farm. Now, let me expand on that. Make sure you make an intelligent decision with that though, okay? So if you live in an area, for instance, if you live in Greer Ranch in Marietta, because I see you're from Marietta, I wouldn't make Greer Ranch your farm because I'm going to invest a lot of money in making sure that I capture Greer Ranch this year. Right? But you can look on the MLS to see the past sales of who's doing the business in a specific area, and not just Matt and Jamie Nunez. If there's an agent that does the majority of a business within your area of where you live, still make that your farm and still go out and talk to people, but maybe not invest a lot of your money, at least initially, into that area. Maybe start in a smaller area or an adjacent neighborhood where it's more spread out amongst several agents. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, thank you for pointing that out. And thankfully, I'm not that close to Marietta, so it's all yours.
Okay.
All right. Good job. Great stuff. Thanks for that, Matt. Really good. Okay, what else did we learn from Matt and Jamie today?
There's absolutely no excuses. I mean, he's over there listing a house, and then the next second he might be saving a cat out of a tree or something, you know?
Yep.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be
Don't be
afraid.
afraid. Hit up your database.
That's right, Rochelle. You got it. Absolutely. All right. What else did we learn out there today?
Schedule is everything with them. If
I'm
you got
sorry,
a chance to stop,
Wait, what was the word?
schedule.
Oh, schedule. Thank you.
Schedule is everything with them. If you ever get a chance to come by, ask them to see their schedule, Matt's schedule. It is mind-boggling how he's broke down his minutes and hours and where he's got to be.
Amazing. Very, very disciplined person. I would
Can
say.
I ask a question?
Of course, Rochelle.
Is Jamie still there?
Jamie?
I am still here. Sorry, I'm
Jamie?
driving to go show a client a home, so that's why you can't see me. Can you hear me?
No, yes. So how do you manage doing all of those
Okay, good.
deals, doing all of that extra work, and being a mother on top of that?
2 kids.
I stress eat. I stress eat.
Okay, so it's not just me. What's
No.
your secret? What's your
I think
secret?
I'm a little delayed, so hopefully you guys can hear me. Can you still hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So honestly is just schedule. Just what Matt was talking about, just what Randy was talking about is if I don't have everything written down when I wake up of what I have to do, it doesn't get done. So schedule for me is everything. Having to navigate everything with my kids and their sports, especially with Matt's, gone at work for 3-4 days in a row. It's just me. But nothing comes before my kids. So everything goes around my kids' schedule. If a client has to see a home, I tell my client what time I'm available. For a listing appointment, we tell our clients what time we're available to come. We don't give them the option because we're not going to miss a sports practice. We're not going to miss a game. We don't miss anything for our kids. So everything revolves around our time, our schedule, and our family. So you just have to be very strict with your time. And if you respect people's time, people will respect your time.
And clearly you guys know your priorities.
Yes.
And that makes the decision-making a lot easier. So good for you guys. Oh.
Jamie, do you refer the client out if they don't want, for example, I take Sundays off, and one of my clients said, I only have Sunday available. So I was selling her duplex in Los Angeles, and I was actually helping her find another replacement property. So she didn't have any other days, so I had to show her on Sundays. How do you usually, do you just refer it out, or do you say, well, I'm sorry, but these are the only time frames that I have? I'm kind of wondering, how should I deliver the message?
Yeah, so we luckily have not had to, or I personally, I shouldn't speak for Matt, but for myself personally, I actually haven't had to refer anybody out because of that. I give my clients so many options, like, hey, I can show you between, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, between the hours of, between 9 a.m. and 2:00 p.m. because then I know I have to pick up my kids from school. And then if they come back, those times don't work for me. I can only show on the weekends. Okay, well, I can do it this Saturday between 1 and 3, or I can do it between 5 and 7, or whatever it is. My kids have sports these days. I can also do it after church. I'm available to show anytime between 12 and 4. Or whatever. So I give them a lot of days to choose from. So I've never had anybody come back and say, no, I just can't see it any of those days. Sorry, I don't know if that answered your question, because I haven't been in that situation yet.
I guess at the end of the day, if their time and your time doesn't work.
Right.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if their time doesn't work and my time doesn't work, then the answer to that would be yes. And if they're and if I'm working with a client that I feel is not a that they're pre-qualified and everything, but they're just kind of a wishy-washy client and they're wanting to go show go see homes in LA and Corona and kind of all over the place, and I just don't want to deal with it because I feel like they're just going to run me rampant, then those are clients that I will refer out. Absolutely.
One other thing I'll say,
if they're motivated, they will find time to see it.
100%.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead, Keith.
Yes.
Hey, one thing I'll just add is Jamie and Matt do an excellent job of interlacing life and business. When I say that, it's very evident on their social media and when you're in front of them and talking with them that, family is really important. And on the flip side, when they're on social media or they're in front of you, it's very evident that they're real estate agents. So when they're on social media and they're posting something, they'll be at a Jolly Jump place with pumpkins behind them. They're doing a pumpkin patch, or they're trying to find a pumpkin for Halloween. And Matt will jump on and he'll literally just be like, hey, at the pumpkin patch, highly recommend this place. It's awesome. Oh, by the way, if you're looking for a home, it's very interlaced. So I think it's very well received because they're so family oriented, but also so business oriented. I don't think there's really, a work-life balance because they've done such a good job of interlacing the two. And I think a lot of that does come from their ability to schedule, but it's really impressive to see.
Good stuff. Thank you. Thanks for sharing, Keith. Good stuff. All right. What else did we learn from Matt and Jamie today? Getting close to wrapping this, because we got to get to prospecting. Armin, are you 1 o'clock?
I'll keep going. I'm fired up.
I know. Are you 1 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
You got it. All right. Okay, let's unmute ourselves again one time. Unmute yourselves, please. All right, let's give them a big hand, Jamie and Matt. All right.
Thank you.
Fantastic.